Chag Sameach, everybody. So we have a couple days to go towards Pesach. And the Pesach story is one of the most amazing stories that we tell. And we do it with such passion and energy and joy. One of the very interesting things about the Pesach story is that before we do it, we have this tradition called karpas. It is the third step of the Seder. It's where we dip that green vegetable or that potato, whatever you decide to dip, into salt water. Karpas. Before we even say a word about the story of Pesach, we're dipping this vegetable into salt water and we're eating it. What is up with the karpas? Why do we open the Seder with such a bizarre custom where we dip this vegetable into salt water? We haven't said a word and we're doing this crazy act of dipping. What's going on here? Now we know the classic answer is, why do we do this? To grab the attention of the kids and to make them ask, why? Why are we dipping this vegetable into salt water? And that's a great answer. But this year, I heard an incredibly deeper idea from Rabbi Hecht Sr. of Santon. And he said the following. He said, where did the whole Pesach story begin? It all began when Joseph went down to Egypt. And why did he go there? It all started with the jealousy of the brothers. When the brothers took Joseph's coat and the brothers dipped the coat into blood, that's really where the whole Pesach story, the whole story of the Exodus began. Now, the karpas is a reference to the coat of Joseph, because the word karpas has the same letters as ketonet pasim, the second part of the word, pasim, karpas, the same letters. And karpas is a material of sorts as well. Besides being a vegetable, as we describe in the Seder, it's also a material of sorts. We read in the Megillah that the decorations around the palace, when King Achashverosh threw his party, one of the words to describe the different materials is karpas. So we have this idea that karpas is also material. Now the brothers taking the coat and dipping it into blood, they were dipping with hatred, with divisiveness. They were dipping with intentions to separate, to pull families apart. We need to undo that. That was the first intention that led to us being slaves in Egypt, and that ultimately got us into all the trouble. Before we even say one word about the whole Seder experience and the whole story of us going out of Egypt, we root it in trying to undo that feeling. And we dip the karpas, the vegetable, into salt water. They were dipping with hatred into blood, we dip into salt water. And salt in Judaism represents something that purifies. Kosher meat is salted. How does meat become kosher? We salt it and we draw out the blood. They had the blood of divisiveness, of hatred. We're going to dip the vegetable into salt water. And the intention is that instead of having separation, we should have unity. We should have togetherness. And in order to make up for what the brothers did and ultimately bring us to the potential to be redeemed as a whole nation, ultimately the first step is that there must be love and togetherness between the Jewish people. Chag Sameach. Thank you so much for listening. All the best.